There is a plant that fed civilizations before wheat reached Africa, before rice crossed the Indian Ocean, before the concept of a seed catalog existed, or a supply chain, or a market that decided what was worth growing. It grows in soil that has been left for dead. It grows in the dry season when everything else has given up. It fixes its own nitrogen. It shades the ground beneath it. It feeds both the person who harvests it and the soil that will feed the next generation. It asks almost nothing. It gives back more than it takes. And somewhere in the middle of the 19th century, an entire continent was made to stop growing it. The plant is Vigna ungulata, the cowpea. Known across West Africa as the black-eyed pea, though that name belongs to just one of its hundreds of varieties, and the name itself arrived through the hold of a slave ship, which is its own kind of history. In the Sahel, it is niabe. In Nigeria, wake. In Ethiopia, adangwari. In parts of South Asia, it is lobia, chale, karamani. Each name is a record of a people who understood what this plant could do and chose to build their food systems around it. It is not glamorous. The pod is long and thin, hanging from the vine in clusters, green when young and papery when dry. The seed is small, smooth, pale, with a dark eye at the center. That black mark, like a pupil, which in some West African traditions was said to be the plant watching you back, watching you the way anything watches you when it knows you need it more than it needs you. That relationship between a crop and the people who depend on it was once considered knowledge. It is now considered sentiment. That reclassification is part of the story. This is Ancient Food Files, a channel dedicated to what the official record set aside. Not what was destroyed in a single moment, but what was outpaced, made inconvenient, reclassified as primitive, and left to grow in the margins while the markets moved elsewhere. The knowledge kept here is old. Some of it is very old. If you are watching, something brought you to the edge of the story that mainstream history tells. Stay a little longer. Subscribe if you believe that what is preserved here is worth keeping. The origin of the cowpea is not a mystery. It is a record written in genetic diversity, and that record points clearly to sub-Saharan Africa, most likely the region stretching across what is now Nigeria, Niger, and Burkina Faso, where wild ancestor species of Vigna still grow in the dry savanna scrub. Archaeological evidence places its cultivation at least 4,000 years ago. Seeds recovered from sites in Nigeria and Togo suggest a crop already domesticated, already selected for, already the product of generations of agricultural knowledge. By 2000 BCE, it had reached East Africa. By 1500 BCE, it was present in the Indian subcontinent. By the time of the Roman Empire, it was growing in Mediterranean gardens and recorded by Pliny. The soldiers eating it had no idea it came from Africa. They would not have cared if they did. In the oral traditions of the Yoruba of southwestern Nigeria, the cowpea appears not as food of last resort, but as food of ceremony, of celebration. The bean soup, ewa agoin, cowpeas slow-cooked to near dissolution and served with spiced palm oil sauce, was not poverty food. It was festival food. The meal you made when people gathered, when something mattered, when the occasion required that you fed them well. That distinction matters. It tells you what the plant meant before the meaning changed. Biologically, the cowpea is built for survival. It is a legume, which means its roots host colonies of rhizobium bacteria that fix atmospheric nitrogen directly into the soil. This is not a metaphor. It is chemistry. The plant takes nitrogen from the air, which most organisms cannot use, and converts it into nutrients the soil can absorb. When the plant dies, the soil becomes richer. It tolerates drought better than many crops. Its leaf pores close early under heat stress, slowing its growth instead of killing it. It waits. When rain returns, it grows again. It grows in sandy soil, laterite, even land exhausted by agriculture. Where farming systems break the soil, the cowpea repairs it. In 1619, a Dutch ship arrived in Virginia carrying enslaved Africans. They arrived with almost nothing, but some carried seeds, hidden in clothing, in hair, and small folds of fabric. The cowpea was among them. By the early 1700s, it was growing across the American South, in the gardens of enslaved people, and small field margins, wherever someone with knowledge and a patch of ground could plant it. It fed the people the plantation system did not feed properly. It kept children alive through winters of reduced rations. Even in worn-out soil stripped by tobacco and rice, it grew, and quietly restored the ground beneath it. Even Thomas Jefferson grew it at Monticello, noting its strength in poor soil. But he did not record where it came from. After the American Civil War, the Southern agricultural system faced ecological collapse. Cotton monoculture had drained the soil for 2 centuries. Yields fell, fields weakened. At the Tuskegee Institute, scientist George Washington Carver proposed a solution: crop rotation with cowpeas. The plant could restore nitrogen and rebuild the soil cotton had exhausted. He documented dozens of uses for the crop, but the cotton economy was not interested in rebuilding the soil. It was interested in maintaining production. The cowpea required no purchased fertilizer, no purchased seed, too much independence, too little profit. And so it was never promoted, never subsidized, never integrated into national agricultural policy. The infrastructure moved around it and left it behind. The rediscovery came through crisis. In 2004, researchers studying degraded Sahel soils found that cowpeas still produced reliable yields where maize failed. In severe drought conditions, cowpeas lost far less productivity than sorghum. When grown beside other crops, they increased yields by restoring soil nitrogen. Scientists describe these findings as discovery. Farmers in West Africa had known it for 4,000 years. Today, climate projections show soils degrading faster than modern agriculture can restore them. Fertilizers depend on natural gas. Rainfall patterns are shifting. Many staple crops cannot adapt quickly enough. The cowpea already has. It evolved under exactly these conditions. Breeding programs today are studying its genetics to create crops for extreme heat, and the seeds they study largely come from small farmers who quietly preserved them for generations. The seed catalog, in the end, is a declaration of value. It decides what is worth growing. The cowpea did not fit, not because it was inadequate, because it was too self-sufficient. It fixed its own nitrogen, it seeded itself, it improved the soil instead of draining it. It did not need the system built to sell agricultural inputs, and so the system did not need it. But the plant never disappeared. It still grows in West African gardens, in Sahel field margins, in kitchens where families cook it simply because it is affordable, filling, and reliable. The soil remembers. The seed remembers. The knowledge was never in the catalog. It was always in the ground. And the ground has not forgotten. If this archive matters to you, if the record of what was set aside and what endured still feels worth keeping, stay. Subscribe to Ancient Food Files, because what survives in the margins is often what lasts the longest.